So listen, you hear enough from me. I wanted to hear from you. So I asked you to send me your reactions and your thoughts on SummerSlam 2024. And you didn't let me down, which I do appreciate, considering I let everybody down. Let's get into it. Now again, everybody's allowed their opinions, so don't get too mad, but subscribe and leave a comment and all of that. But Dan says most, if not all, of SummerSlam was predictable. Give it a second. But SummerSlam proved that predictability is not bad if it makes sense. Everything felt important, everything felt logical, everything hit so hard because of that. I totally agree. I don't mind you wanting things to be unpredictable, but that does mean if all of a sudden, I don't know, Nia Jax had gone babyface and teamed up with Bayley and turned on Tiffany Stratton, and they all sat down and had some kind of Jenga game, you have to go, this is brilliant. That's unpredictability, right? You don't know what's going to happen. I'm not saying you can't have swerves. I'm not saying you can't have surprise turns, but sometimes the reason you can tell where a story is going is because you are a grown person or even a small person. They have brains and you figured it out in your head. It's like when you go to watch a rom-com. I always use this example. I need to come up with a new one, but we know what's going to happen at the end, and it's just fun and it's just exciting, and that seems to be Triple H's way. He just wants to tell stories, and I think half the fun is getting excited. Oh my gosh, Dom's going to do this. Oh my gosh, Finn Balor's going to do this. Oh my gosh, this person is going to win that championship. And then when it does happen, as long as it is, as my man Dan here says, executed in the right way, it makes you feel good about what you're watching and it makes you want to tune in. And also, I think WWE can run with this for at least 10 years, given that the previous 25 years sometimes was absolute nonsense. And things did just happen out of nowhere. So I like predictability. I like the obvious, for lack of a better term, because again, you have to look up what the definition of obvious means. And I ain't going to argue with a dictionary, man. We'll whoop all our ass. Rez says, as happy as I am that Gunther is champion, I can't help but feel this sense of dread knowing he's not going to lose anytime soon. He'll for sure defend it, but I don't want another year-long title reign. Not to say I want him to be transitional, but I like the uncertainty. Well, I think that is the job of Triple H & Co., is to build up challenges where you go, well, I know that Gunther isn't going to lose, but what if? I think that's why it's really important we did do what we did at SummerSlam, because you're right, we had loads of long title reigns in the last sort of couple of years or whatever it is, especially Roman Reigns' 1,316-day reign, and Gunther should hold it for a long time, right? I think he should hold it to at least WrestleMania. Do we consider that a long time anymore? I don't know. But again, it needs to come up with opponents who are built well, and we have good storylines, and we have jeopardy, so that when you do sit down, Bash at Berlin, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, you're just second-guessing yourself that little bit, and it is a problem with modern-day wrestling. Sometimes it's so obvious who's going to win, it's so obvious who's going to lose, or it's so obvious we're going to get some shenanigans. So, listen, I have trust in WWE at the moment to deliver on that. Gunther should be a dominant champion. That's his character. That's what's going to piss people off more, and he's a heel. So that's his job. But yes, now we need people. We need good baby faces that we can believe in and just hope that they can do it. I think Sami Zayn is a perfect example of this back at the Elimination Chamber 2023. People actually thought there was a chance that WWE would take the butt off Roman on what most saw as a B show. That's terrific booking as far as I'm concerned. And it also works. If they had have done it, you wouldn't have pissed anybody off either. So see where you're coming from, Rez. But we put our trust in the company and we wait and see. DRM says this SummerSlam was one of the most predictable cards ever. Wait for it. And that's perfectly fine. It was entertaining and a fresh page turn on majority of storylines. Well done. I think that's important too, right? When we do tune into SmackDown and Raw this week, there's a bunch of new stuff we need to see. What's Roman Reigns going to do? How does Cody feel about this? Where's Randy Orton and Kevin Owens' positioning? What's the deal with Jacob Fatu? Do we see Hikuleo? Then you've got everything with the Judgment Day. I'm recording this on Monday. Raw should be completely based around the Civil War there too, because Dom and Rhea are going to be on the team and everyone else is going to be on the other side, and we have a brand new world champion. So what's his first story? Same with Bron Breakker. So yes, totally agree. Very excited about the television this week, which should always be the way coming off a major pay-per-view. SummerSlam is hot WrestleMania. Triple H basically confirmed that in the post-SummerSlam press conference. Jared says Roman should disappear, here we go, until Survivor Series. Getting a little taste of what it'd be like to have him back would make his full comeback that much more impactful. Jared, I appreciate you coming to my house and delivering your opinions, but I think you're totally incorrect. I think that would be mad. You don't want to bait and switch your own fan base. That would piss them off, especially because there was a Roman Reigns championship released yesterday, and it sold out in an hour and made the company almost $1 million, all his merchandise together. Now, it's just the right time, man. Him being off television for 4 months is a long-ass time in a modern-day world. Maybe it was different back in the day, but not in 2024. And now he is back. People are going to tune into SmackDown to see what he's going to do. And if you then turned around and said you're not going to see him for August, September, October, another 4 months, I think you're at risk of annoying people and not in the right way, like a way a bad guy's meant to wind you up. So no, he's back. It's exciting. We had the big pop. You also don't want to milk the cow too much, right? Everyone can have enough dairy. Why I said that. I regret it. But no, he doesn't have to be on every single show at all. He is a star and he brings the numbers. but we should absolutely be building for the Civil War at Survivor Series, maybe the Solo Sikoa match at WrestleMania, whatever it is. But for the next 6 months of the year, he should be on more shows than he's not. Could be totally wrong. Again, comments. Tanner says, honestly felt like it all got booked how it should have. Personal bias for some. Really happy with the results. Predictable, sure, but most of it felt really well executed and well done. One of the most all-round solid PLEs we've had in a while. I mean, you can get the theme here, right? And it's nice to know that somehow here on Simon's Wrestling Channel, we have a community that is positive and looks at it that way. Tanner, I got nothing else to feed back. I agree. Mike Owens, maybe it's the football player. Doubt it. Doesn't even watch movies. Felt more like a B show than their second biggest show. Too many run-ins, 7 singles matches makes for an even feeling for the show, and a lot of the matches kind of just felt the same. Show was enjoyable though, but it wasn't the show it could have been. No, Mike, I'm not on board with you there, but again, I appreciate your opinion. We saw 4 title changes, 5 maybe? No, because Liv Morgan retained. So 4 title changes, the return of Roman Reigns. I think the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins match, I seem to be in the minority, or maybe it's just a loud minority on the internet. I think that opens the door for loads of stuff. I think it felt very impactful. And even the way it was shot, I thought it made it feel like a super special pay-per-view. I certainly wouldn't call it a B show feel. I know what you mean by B show. I don't think it's offensive. You're saying that, again, something like an Elimination Chamber is a B and SummerSlam is meant to be an A. But no, when it was done, I felt like, oh wow, we have hit a hard reset here. Repeating myself, we've opened loads of doors, and that's what major shows should do, unless you're WrestleMania, which can actually put a full stop on a lot of stories, and then we begin again on Raw. This kind of felt like a midway point leading into WrestleMania 41. So no, I think they pulled out all the big guns, and I think they wanted to tell you, hey, the reason we're going to 2 nights from now on is because we do see it as such a big deal. And listen, I've told you time and time again, I'm much more of a single day guy other than WrestleMania and perhaps the Royal Rumble, but they haven't put a foot wrong with this stuff so far. I once said that WrestleMania shouldn't go 2 days. So what do I know? Nothing. John says the Manscaped ad was fantastic TV. I did like the way they incorporated it and made it feel like a backstage segment. Obviously spoke to me because Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin were shaving their heads. And listen, do I ever really need to see Otis shave his belly going, oh man, I'm having a great time? No, it wouldn't be on my list of things to do. But I bet you it sold a shit ton of Manscaped. Mark D. Mailer says the WWE just did an amazing job of furthering storylines and entering a spot with new feuds because of new champions. Card top to bottom was incredible. The next several months of Survivor Series are must-watch TV for both sides to see where Triple H is taking us on this ride. Mark, I love the way you think, my friend. This is the kind of joy I need in my life. And yes, I don't want to repeat myself, but I am totally with you. Good endings, good twists. Not everything that maybe I would have done if I was in charge, but that's great. I don't want everything to be catered to my taste. That would be boring. I want to have a whole ball of emotions in my head, in my tum-tum, and then I can see how it plays on TV and say, oh, I was right, I was wrong, I would have done this. Again, there is so much wrestling on our television. Not everything can account to what you want it to be. It would be absolutely insane if you thought that was the case. Which is why when you go on social media these days, some people are absolutely bonkers. Paul Janchek says, I'm so mad at Dom and Finn Balor. Shocked how split the crowd was over Rhea and Liv. Well, I think it's because you get to see, well, in this turn, a heel turn on top of a heel turn, as Dom did what you're not meant to do and he went double heel. But people like being part of changes, right? It's why Gunther got a big pop when he won. Oh my gosh, we get to see a new world champion. Same with Bron Breakker. And it's the same there. And also, I think Dom and Liv are such an awful act in terms of how they are portrayed. Like, morally, they're terrible. They're awful human beings. There is a side to us all where we're like, secretly like it. I mean, that's what turned Stone Cold Steve Austin into such a mega babyface, because he was doing things that were, again, kind of morally not cool, but we'd love to do them in our own lives. And also, it's a love triangle. Everybody loves a love triangle. And maybe there is some kind of excitement about how Rhea Ripley's going to get her revenge. But I think this probably speaks to a bigger achievement of Triple H's WWE run. There's loads of people that are over. Top of the card, mid card, bottom of the card. People have invested in these characters, so when they do things, you're going to get an awesome reaction, you're going to get noise. I'm very excited to see brand new Judgment Day. I hope that we allow Finn Balor to lead it, because Finn Balor is just on fire right now. One of the most underrated wrestlers ever. He's so good and he opens so many doors. But it's exciting times, or sad times. If you like the original Judgment Day, they did. Simon says, as much of a fan as I am of Damian Priest, the World Heavyweight Championship really needs someone who can build up its prestige as being a world title that could be viewed as equal to the Universal Championship instead of the consolation prize that some still refer to. So, not sure which side you're going on there, but in my SummerSlam review I did yesterday, bing, hopefully a card pops up, make sure you check it out. I said the opposite. I think Damian Priest, along with Seth Rollins and whoever else has held it so far, has done such a good job that I'm starting to feel like it does have meaning. And I think Gunther winning it in SummerSlam in that kind of hard-hitting match also added to it. And I think by the time we do get to next year, this WrestleMania match, depending on what it is, should cement it as a worthwhile title. Like, these things take time. Sometimes, it doesn't have the importance or the worth that you want it to have in a week. You're like, oh man, it's rubbish, stupid kiddie title. I was probably the same. But now, no, I think Damian Priest has done it. Usually they say the man makes the belt and the belt doesn't make the man. It worked both worlds. I think that Damian Priest has cemented himself as a main eventer, and I think in doing that, he's also put a lot of worth onto that championship too. And Gunther will absolutely do that. I think that belt is in a really good position, and it's only going to get better again leading into WrestleMania 41. I hope whatever we do have planned is super serious, and I like goofy wrestling, but again, if we're looking at it this way, I hope we go in with all the bells and the whistles and the Limp Bizkits playing, and yeah, when you come out then into the rest of that year, it could be an absolute banger. Tribal D says, go back to Roman's theme before he left. I'm already upset about the new one. Well, it is the one he used at WrestleMania 40, right? It's just got a different holla beater. I disagree just because I think I like iterations of characters. When you hear what we'll call the original new Roman theme, we know that's the bad tribal chief, and this new one can be representative of the heroic tribal chief or the good guy tribal chief. I like small changes like that, and also in 6 weeks we all have forgotten about this because we will have gotten used to it. But it's so much better than I'm a heel now, I wear black gear, I wear black trunks, I look angry in my eyes. We don't need to do stuff like, well, you can do it, doesn't matter. But I much like the more thematic things that we do, which is, oh, my tune has been tweaked just a little bit. No one's going to reference it in terms of in the stories or the commentary team, but we all know what we're doing here. I'm a fan. Owens said SummerSlam was amazing. Pressure on Tony Khan to produce an equally as good All In with a question mark. No, I don't like the comparisons all of the time. And also, I love the fact that WWE feels like WWE and AEW feels like AEW at the moment. I saw all of that arguing as well. Oh man, this is AEW show, just been a bunch of long matches. Yeah, that's what I want. And people, then you get the other side, oh, just a bunch of stories and heel turns. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't want them to feel the same. That would be absolutely crap. But no, there's no pressure on Tony Khan or any other company to produce a good pay-per-view just because WWE does a good one. I want them all to do well because it's pro wrestling, and if I'm going to spend my time watching it, I'd rather they were good other than shockingly bad. I've seen Heroes of Wrestling, whatever the Legends of Wrestling, whatever that stupid pay-per-view was called, and it absolutely sucked. So no. And also, AEW's pay-per-view record is pretty good as long as you like what AEW does. This is like going to a pizza restaurant and getting mad at pizza. You shouldn't have been there to begin with. Dower says, I just don't understand why Dominic would choose Liv when he showed nearly zero interest in her before now. Well, he definitely did, right? He's definitely just a terrible person. But even if you have taken it that way, that's why you got to tune into Raw. And that's why it's a good storyline. I came up with this a long time ago. The question is why? There's only one way to find out. Sam BWFC, I'm sure that's your real name, says, despite winning, I felt Drew was made to look weak. Visual pins, but for rest bumps, distractions because of the bracelet. Apart from that, I thought it was an excellent pay-per-view. So we did mention this yesterday. I do think there's an argument to be had that maybe we went too far in one direction. But also sometimes that is WWE storytelling. It's going to be less nuanced unless we're going to smash you over the head. I know you're not saying this, but I have no problem with the bracelet. That has taken on a life of its own. I love the fact that we tried to add some emotion and some drama into a match as opposed from I'm going to do a 450. Love 450s, but I've seen 450s. If you can come up with something that has a little bit more feeling to it, you absolutely should do it. So yeah, no problem with me whatsoever. And as long as we do continue this on and CM Punk tells me how much it means to him, I can buy into it. I've watched TV dramas that are more sentimental and stupid than that and cheesy. So the Drew thing doesn't matter. We're never going to reference it again. Drew can just laugh off and go, don't care I won, don't care I won. And I think that's going to be the story beat when it comes to the narrative. But yes, I do think there's a talking point there, but we did it yesterday. S Charisma 81 says, I loved it, with an exclamation mark. Bayley powerbombing Nia Jax was amazing. I know there could be some questions on the changes of titles, but I also feel they were justified. Sami Zayn is so over that he doesn't need the title to elevate him. Nia is on a tear that her winning the title builds. I mean, that's probably a fair point to Nia Jax. She has had a very good 2024. You know what, SC? I'm not even going to say anything about that. I just love it when people get in touch and they're happy because your happiness makes me happy. Even if I thought SummerSlam was absolute crap, which I did not, the fact that somebody can get entertainment out of it, that's the best thing ever. And we finish with Ian, who says, honestly, SummerSlam was better than WrestleMania this year. Bronze Sammy was an okay match, but other than that, every match was fantastic. Again, not into the comparison thing, and I was at WrestleMania, so my brain's going to be different. I just think WWE's hitting home runs when it comes to their big shows. I think Bronze Sammy is getting a little bit of a hard time. Fightful Select reported today that apparently the time was cut. It was meant to go 10 minutes. Why did it go 5? We don't know. But the idea wasn't for them to have a good match. It was to establish Bron Breakker as an absolute killer who just broke Sami Zayn, who we all love. So no, I'm more in favor of, again, kind of shifting match quality out the way for stories and characterization and whatever we're going to do in the future. And also on a show that was 4 hours long, you give me a 5.5 minute match, totally good for that, because it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me surprised. Like, oh my gosh, what the hell happened there? I didn't think we were going to do that. Whereas sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you do get 20-minute match, 20-minute match, 20-minute match, 20-minute match, I'm a bit like, man, I would take a squash right now, or some kind of comedy angle, but that is just my taste, as other people are going to feel differently, and I would imagine my man Ian was a bit of that ilk. He just wanted a longer match, which is totally cool. But what I do enjoy massively is, I went through as many comments as possible. I don't want to spam you with them. There were some people say it's absolute crap, but I kind of felt like they were coming from a bad place, so I shifted them to one side. But at least here on my stupid YouTube channel, I think the majority agree it was a really, really good show, and we're excited moving into the Berlin pay-per-view and whatever we're going to do at Survivor Series, which really should be OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline. What I'm secretly excited about is I have this feeling, I don't know for sure, it's complete speculation, that maybe Cody Rhodes is not going to be involved in that because we have enough players, and also it keeps Roman and Cody separated until we do another feud or whatever it will be, which means Randy Orton could turn on Cody Rhodes very soon, and we could do that pre-WrestleMania. We can't do it at this year's WrestleMania or next year's, it's too packed. Do we want to hold off till next year's SummerSlam? Maybe if it is 2 nights, maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself, but who else does Cody feud with right now? But of course he may jump right into the Bloodline stuff, which I'm totally fine with as well. Who doesn't want to see an Avengers team with Cody and Roman leading it up? It's just the Avengers, right? It's Iron Man, it's Captain America, it's all the rest of them, and I'm well into that right now because I saw Deadpool and Wolverine the other day, and it's just a fantastic film. It is the nerdiest, geekiest film ever made, so you may not be surprised to hear that I really, really loved it. So, a very successful weekend for WWE, I would say. Make sure you drop me even more comments down there about what you did think about it, because listen, by Wednesday, we're all going to move on to something else, something huge will happen on Raw, and we will know what our next big fights are for the next big show. So again, comments, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, notification crew. Click the video on the screen if you are still watching. Otherwise, it is grillermind.com/Simon. You can get 10% off. These are amazing fitness supplements, as is a Go-Go Fitness. Again, you can get your supplements, and you can get your workouts in. Simon20 there. Otherwise, it's patreon.com/Simon316. Simon316 on Instagram, Twitter, and Thread. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon Miller on Cameo. Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics for merchandise. Otherwise, thank you for a wonderful SummerSlam weekend, my friends. We shall leave it there with a full stop. See you soon.